What's going on with XRP behind the scenes? In this emergency update, I'll be sharing how XRP is currently being accumulated by insiders. Some information they might have that has them picking up XRP at these low prices, and what you should be doing now if you either hold XRP or are looking to buy it off the open market. Also, we'll be covering how this new bombshell report from the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, talks about the future of central bank digital currencies and the interesting timing of Ripple announcing the launch of a stablecoin. Finally, I'll cover some key players like Tony McLaughlin, a managing director at Citibank, and Lauren Live, the head of public policy at Ripple, who has deep experience at major companies in terms of government relations and even was on the U.S. House Committee on Rules. We'll be sharing some keen insights into the future of money, central bank digital currencies, and how these things can affect XRP, so stay tuned to the end of the video. So back in March 11th of 2024, at the local high on just about the majority of cryptos due to the Bitcoin ETF news and then subsequent run-up in the markets, XRP has continued to sell off. And its first major low, which marked a very important price point on XRP from that recent high, was at about 42 cents. And if we trail on forward, you can see that XRP failed to break back above that 55 to 52 cent range and actually continued to break down with the majority of the market. The good news is XRP during this same time frame is actually down less in terms of percentage points than many other crypto in the market. And I would argue this is because XRP is still a very major player and it is a top 10 crypto token with a $24.5 billion market cap. It's ranked number 7. So obviously it's here to stay, and I'm not really too worried about a major dump in XRP, right? Even if the markets continue to sell off, it doesn't look like XRP is going to be dumping as hard as a lot of other altcoins. So that's the good news. The other good thing is that when XRP did dump from this 48 cent range right over here, you can see that we had a long drop down to 38 cents, and then it started pumping and getting bought back up just to above the previous range low. So I'm going to toss a line there because this seems to be a pretty strong support. That is also confluence with the rest of the price action. As you can see here, this is a multi-year low right here. Back in June of 2022, we had our low down to 28 cents. And so what used to be, again, a resistance then became a support. Looking at that weekly time frame, it's no different, right? If I go ahead and pull up a VRVP, you can see that boatloads of volume and interest is here at the 37 cent to 39 cent range. So that dump looked to be bought up. It doesn't mean that we can't go lower, but with a few key catalysts, this could be the local low on XRP. So let's go ahead and talk about that. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the Bank of International Settlements, which is an international financial institution owned by member central banks. Its primary goal is to foster international monetary and financial cooperation while serving, and this is crazy, as a bank for central banks. In other words, they are the biggest fish in a very large pond. So whatever reports these guys are putting out kind of matters, right? And now we're going to dive into the report. And in the report, they got the results of the 2023 survey on central bank digital currencies from all of the central banks and whether or not they were actually working on them. And here's what we found. It seems that central banks are intensifying their work on wholesale CBDCs. Actually, 94% of central banks that responded were engaged in CBDC work. Now, this is important because a lot of banks, right, are running on old monetary systems that take time for settlements. They're slow, they're clunky, they can't get as much business done if you're waiting for a settlement, right? If I could trade and transfer monies rapidly and it's immediately available, then that would be a huge breakthrough in technology. And so as the world moves forward in terms of CBDCs, right, and the technology that backs them, then ultimately other banks and central banks, I would say, would want to do the exact same thing to basically keep up with the rest of the world. So the fact that 94% of them are engaging in this activity tells you that this is essentially the new future of money. Okay, it's no longer just going to be fiat currency that's issued by central banks in the form of paper dollars or even computers, right? It's going to be blockchain. Moving on, in sum, the likelihood that a wholesale CBDC will be issued within the next 6 years is now greater than that for retail. In other words, it's kind of like any player in the game, right? Like I can sell products to your average retail investor, a mom and pop shop, or better yet, just individuals. But individuals typically have less access to capital than institutional players. Well, in the same manner, right, wholesale CBDCs for institutions and banks have far more potential, and arguably there's going to be far more money flows there than there would be for retail, which is why they would develop wholesale CBDCs first. And that's obviously important for Ripple because they're developing money and CBDC technology, right, at a wholesale scale. They're doing it for the banks. But obviously they can't just stop at banks, right? They also have to think about the people in countries that they serve. For retail, more than 2 out of 3 central banks that answered the question on potential use cases are targeting person-to-person payments, 71% of them actually, and government payments at 67%, and about half envision as a retail CBDC that can be used for online payments, 52%, and point-of-sale purchases, 49%. So there'll even be CBDCs for people purchasing things, right? And as the world moves forward, more than half of responding central banks, about 63%, said that they have accelerated, which is huge, their work on CBDCs in reaction to developments in stablecoins and other crypto assets, which is leading countries to get urgent about CBDCs. Examples of jurisdictions that launched or are working on a tailored regulatory framework include the UK, Hong Kong, major player in China, and Singapore. Now, it's no secret that Ripple has actually been working on a stablecoin, and now it looks like it's an official game plan. Ripple is to issue a USD-backed stablecoin, bringing more utility and liquidity to the XRP ledger. Issuing our stablecoin will unlock new opportunities for, and this is the key word, institutional and DeFi use. And so when you look at Ripple, in their website, you can see that they're already offering to accelerate payments and reduce costs by creating a platform for CBDCs. And if there's been anyone, in the world of crypto and blockchain technology that has been working harder and is positioned to do that, it's got to be XRP, sitting again at number 7. Solana isn't really doing that. They're messing around in the world of meme coins and DeFi. Binance ain't doing that currently, right? You recently had their CEO go to prison. And so, Ethereum is already positioned in a completely different way and a market, and they're obviously too expensive, right? They're going to get their ETF, I'm sure, but they're a little bit too expensive to be doing actual settlements and consistent transactions. So the only other player that I can see would be XRP. Still, XRP and Ripple need a path forward, which is why I believe they hired a woman like Lauren B. Live. She has experience as a director of government affairs from SoftBank, a massive institutional investor, right? Then she's worked as the head of U.S. government relations with Zoom. She's worked as the head of federal government relations with Lyft, major companies that and that's probably because of her experience as a policy director back through 2012 and 2015 in Washington, D.C. And here's what she had to say.
No, this is absolutely thrilling. In terms of taking a step back, Ripple has enabled the crypto solutions for businesses around the world. We are in 67 countries. We've launched payment systems and pilots from Brazil, South Korea, Palau, and you have to really think about what that means for the general globalization of the world. The next step is stablecoin, and we are really excited about this launch. We keep hearing from our customers, this is a customer demand, that they want a common dollarized method of transaction, and that is widely available and always on. And so we hope that this will be the right fit for our existing business channels. And there's so much opportunity here. Today, the stablecoin market is about $150 billion, and we have not entered that market yet. And we expect this market to exceed nearly $3 trillion by 2028. That was independent research that was done. And I think that clear demand is showcasing that the trust, stability, and utility from a company that is compliance first, which Ripple is, would be an ideal player. And we're looking to have this pegged to both the XRP ledger and the Ethereum networks.
Now, Tony McLaughlin is a managing director at Citibank, and Tony McLaughlin is responsible for emerging payments and business development in Citi's treasure and trade solutions business. He works on the future of money and the product market fit between regulated finance, which, news alert, XRP is one of the only ones with actual clarity in the form of a judgment from an actual judge, between regulated finance and the modern digital economy, i.e. probably crypto and at least blockchain technology. And here's what he has to say.
You have Swift does messaging with a large data payload in the ISO 20022 messages, but it doesn't do settlement. So the ultimate would be to bring these things together where you have messaging and settlement coming together, that who owns what machine working hand in hand with something you can transfer the large data payloads.
And when you look at Ripple's CBDC page on step 4, you can see that they actually settle transactions in 2 to 3 seconds. So it seems that it's obvious at this point, right, that Ripple is positioned in such a way that the 94% of these central banks might actually take into account that XRP has built and Ripple has built the technology for them to accomplish their CBDC needs. With that information in mind, it seems that whales have been accumulating through the current range from April 12th through present day. And as you can see here, this is the price in the chart on Bitcoin. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a few different metrics. The first metric I'm going to pull up is this 100,000 to 1 million tokens, which would be about 44,000 to 440,000. In other words, these are wallets or people who have a decent amount of XRP, 100,000 to a million XRP. And as you can see, through this entire dumping range, they have been accumulating. But they're not what I would consider whales. I would consider whales anyone who has at least $440,000 of XRP, or, right, 4.4 million. And as you can see right here, they've also been accumulating through the range. So in both scenarios, people with a boatload of XRP haven't been accumulating. Let's look at someone who has 10 million to 100 million or $44 million of XRP. And as you can see here, they haven't been accumulating, but they've been remaining relatively flat. And so they have not been selling. But in this entire range, when I turn off these two, you can see that since back here in January of 2024, they've not had paper hands. They've been diamond handing it. And arguably through this entire range, they've been accumulating. And so now it's just a game of, well, is anyone actually going to sell? But the bigger players have been accumulating, and this chart proves it. So looking back at this very familiar chart of XRP, you can see that, obviously we have our high right here in July of 2023, current price of about 44 cents right here. If I pull up the XRP crypto market cap, or better yet, the XRP market cap, and track it against XRP, the actual token, from back here in November of 2021 through this dump, you can see that they trade exactly the same. The blue line on the chart is XRP market cap. The actual candlesticks are the price of XRP. And since that high, you can see that XRP has actually been dumping more than the market cap. In other words, the market cap is actually down less in the same time frame than the actual price of the token. And what that would indicate is the fact that people, based on news and emotions, are actually selling their XRP or letting it go for less than they actually wanted in terms of offers and bids, right? But the actual market cap and the money in XRP is dumping less. So that signals accumulation and actual strength long term. It doesn't mean that they don't trade exactly the same in terms of correlation, right? That's a given. It's just that they're starting to deviate more now. Back here, for example, in June of 2022, you can see they were lock in step. But now this deviation or this distance between the two is indicative of the fact that people are letting go of their XRP for less than the actual market cap would indicate that it's worth. So what that's saying and indicating to me is that we have more diamond hands now, and that we have actual capitulation happening now. So when you track it against the VRVP, and we just hit that major strong support range on a multi-year level, that's something that I would consider an accumulation zone. We are officially in accumulation zone. So whether or not XRP dumps a little bit more down to 38 cents, 30 cents, right? The odds that it's a good buy here are far greater than the odds that you should be shorting or selling into something like this. This is officially accumulation zone, and arguably people would be very mad, right, that when and if XRP goes back to its previous all-time high at about $3.30, the risk to reward just, it's there right now. It's such a small risk for such a large reward. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video and you learned something new, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And also, if you want to learn how to do technical analysis like this, okay, then go ahead and go to bullrunners.com to get access to our underground guidebook and become a crypto millionaire. I appreciate you watching the video. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Let us know what you think is going to happen, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.